off to cripple him. Like, that's what I've always been like. Somebody just cripple his legs so he can't run after
Like
you, you know?
Monty Python and the Holy Grail. He's the Black Knight. It's only a flesh wound.
It's only a flesh wound.
Well, they blow him up in part 9, but that's when we discover that little worm demon thing goes into another body. And then you get a really disturbing scene that's kind of like Youngblood, where Jason shaves a full-grown man. Maybe we'll get to this movie one day. Maybe not. But it would be quite some time. Hey, so I just gave you your opening bumper there. Welcome to Season 3 of Talking Pondo. Talking Pondo is a podcast where Clif and Marty give each other a film to watch and talk about them in detail. Some episodes will include a special guest. Chris Rock gets slapped by Jason Voorhees at the Oscars will not be seen this week, so we may bring you the following scream of an episode.
I wish it had been Chris Rock being smacked by Jason. Have you seen Will Smith trying to revive his music career?
Oh, yeah.
Whew.
That was embarrassing.
Good God, that's rough.
In watching today's movie, one of today's movies, unfortunately, I immediately had the thought of get your wife's name out your motherfucking mouth or whatever.
Oh, because she's literally in the first fucking 10 minutes of that fucking movie. Yeah. You can't think of it. I can't look at either one of them now without thinking about it. Because it happened at the fucking Oscars. And then they gave him a fucking Oscar for it after it. Not for the slap, but they were just like, oh, by the way, why don't you come up here and get your Oscar and fucking have a nice speech where you shake your head and cry. Congratulations, Will Smith.
The slap was the best performance of them all.
No shit.
Perhaps the real friends were the slaps
we made along the way.
There's a great old Fresh Prince episode with Chris Rock. So, I mean, they've known each other forever.
That he would look, honestly, what it does is it speaks to the fragility of Will's mental state, that he would get up in front of a national audience of 40 or 50 million people, or 20, I don't know, but I'm probably over exaggerating the people watching, but let's say it's 5 million, 10 million people who are watching this, and he gets up and walks up and literally assaults another person live, and then just goes and sits back down, and everything just goes back to what it is, you know?
Yeah.
It's an interesting, and then he cries about it and has, wow, this turned into a whole Will Smith thing. You know what? Will Smith isn't even on the episode. What are we talking about?
Movie, but this is Jada Pinkett was in this movie. I think it was before she had the hyphen in her name, if I'm remembering correctly. But anyways,
we're
really
back. A fan of either one of them.
We're back. It's Talking Pondo. Parents just don't understand. It's episode 90. Overall of this show. Episode 18 of season 3. And so we're back. It's Clif and Marty. It's Talking Pondo, picking 2 movies. And if you didn't know already, it's the spooky season. At least when this is being dropped. October 13th, an appropriate day for this episode to drop. And we've already told a bunch of horror stories about getting slapped at the Oscars. So we might as well pivot that into a movies about actual horror movies.
I mean, embarrassing yourself at the Oscars seems to be pretty horrifying. But yeah, I mean, he didn't die.
No. But why are we talking so much about Will Smith in the Oscar slap? Well, because today's movies are Jason X and Scream 2, and Jada Pinkett is in the beginning of Scream 2, which made me come up with the opening gag, and now here we are. So.
Yes, I love it. But I don't want to talk about that one first. I want to talk about Jason X first.
Oh, I'd rather talk about Jason X first anyway. Even though Scream 2 came out first. Scream 2 is a 1997 release.
Yep, Jason X is 2001.
Jason X is 2001. Both of these take me back to that late 90s, early aughts time of going to the theater a lot and watching every movie that came down the pike pretty much, especially every genre film. I saw both of these opening day
Yeah, I saw Scream 2 for sure in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I saw Jason X opening day. I think I'd given up on the Friday the 13th at this point. And I wish I had, honestly, because, well, we'll talk about it later.
The fun thing about seeing, apparently Scream 2, even though it came out in like November or December, it was still the 21st highest grossing movie of the year. That's pretty good to make that much money, and you're only out like a month of the year.
A couple months, yeah.
But seeing Jason X at the theater, we've talked about the opaque of the film screen, and so what some people would say is the dated CG. Actually, I remember it played a lot better on the screen back then. And I was like, oh yeah, that's perfectly acceptable for what you're going into. You're thinking it's going to be like really hokey, and it's like, at least more than passable. But
once it gets onto the digital format, onto a small OLED television, it looks rough.
Yeah. Oh,
so boy. Jason X.
Yeah, Jason X. I got to write another note down here real quick because I have so much to say about this one.
So let me get through this real quick here. Jason X, 2001, rated R, 1 hour and 32 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Voorhees is cryogenically frozen at the beginning of the 21st century and is discovered in the 25th century and taken to space.
Mm-hmm.
He gets thawed and begins stalking and killing the crew of the ship that's transporting him. This is directed by James Isaac, written by Todd Farmer and Victor Miller, stars Kane Hodder, Lexa Doig, and Jeff Geddes. That is your log line. Your storyline is even more ridiculous. In the year 2008, Jason Voorhees is cryogenically frozen in a government facility in Camp Crystal Lake along with scientist Rowan.
The old future.
Many centuries later, in the year 2055, Earth is uninhabitable, and humans have moved to another planet known as Earth 2. However, a team of scientists awakens both him, Jason, and Rowan on a spaceship known as the Grendel. Perfect name. Jason begins killing the students and crew of the ship, and then along the way, he is upgraded to Uber Jason. And it's now up to Rowan and surviving students to stop Jason, this time on a spaceship. Students? I don't remember anybody being a student, but okay.
Yeah, once again, these synopsis just love to jump right to the end of the movie. And then he's Uber Jason, and it's like, well, that doesn't really happen until the movie's almost over, but you gotta love a good IMDb synopsis.
Mm-hmm.
So where to even begin? Well, I guess to start with, let's talk a little bit about the series as a whole. Like we watched the first one a few months back with the Hoey's came on, and then you jump to this one, which is in the timeline
9 movies later.
9 movies later, in the timeline, it's the end of the saga because we're 400 years past. You thought the time jump between parts 1 and 2 and 6 were bad, where it should already be to the 2000s because another 5 years and another 10 years keep going past. But we've only had a year between the production of the films. You thought that was bad. Now we're just all the way out 400 years from now. So let's talk a little bit about parts 7 and 8, because this is one of the 4 Kane Hodder Jason movies. He didn't come on to the series until part 7, The New Blood. So he only got to make one kind of normal Friday the 13th. That's one where he's still at the camp and he's fighting the telekinetic girl. It's basically Carrie or the X-Men versus Jason. They're getting a little ridiculous at this point, but it's still...
Oh, God, they got ridiculous after 3.
Yeah, but he's still at the camp, right?
Sure.
And then we move to part 8, which in a way, Jason X is kind of a remake of part 8. But let's face it, all of these series are remakes of the previous entries in some form or another. Once something gets entered into the canon, whether we like it or not, will continue to pop its head up in future entries. Even sometimes when they say, we're going to ignore all those movies and make a whole brand new movie, and then they take elements from all the shit they said they were going to ignore. But long story short, this is Jason Takes Manhattan again because Jason's on a boat again, right? He's on a boat for like half of Manhattan. He's on a spaceship, which is kind of like a boat in space. It's Alien. But it's Jason is the alien. And then we get to part 9, the Jason Goes to Hell, which some people say this is the worst one. This is far from the worst one. Part 9 is probably the bottom of the heap.
Oh,
they took some swings in Part 9, and I appreciate it.
oh, they took some swings in Jason X. Jason X has some wonderful swings, and we'll talk about them. So first off, who the hell would cryogenically freeze a crazed killer who can't die? Why would you want to fucking save that for the future?
Yeah, make it their problem.
Right, yeah, like fucking like what, you know, don't, I mean, that's, I don't know, that's insane.
You can't pull too many threads in this one or it really starts to not make any sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's kind of what's fun about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, and I'll get this out of the way just to start with. Out of most of the Jason movies after 3, this is one of the most fun of the fucking Friday the 13th movies.
Mm-hmm.
This movie isn't taking itself seriously for a second. It doesn't give a shit. It's just having a good time. What do we do if we pack this thing with this thing? Hey, how could we have Jason kill this? I mean, when they literally get him out of cryo, that kid is just standing there and he falls over with the machete and cuts the kid's arm off. So he's blooded himself and he's frozen solid. It's fantastic. Yep. It's just camp and pure fun all the way through.
Yeah, this one doesn't really match Part 9. Because Part 9, they try to, I mean, I guess you could kind of say it does. But Part 9, they try to say that Jason is some little demon worm thing that goes between body and body, and eventually the body just ends up looking like him in the hockey mask again. I don't know why.
That's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever
this
heard.
one, it's like we've kind of forgotten that, and we're back to, we can't kill him. That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know.
It's nice because at this point in the series, and a lot of series, everything's very lore based. It's not one of the early ones where we're building the world. Now the world is here.
We're adhering to it. Mm-hmm.
And we're just going to play with the world. And the nice thing about this one is they kind of ignore a lot of that stuff, where it's like, if you've never seen one before, in the very beginning you go, okay, this guy's chained up. We can't stop him. Unstoppable killer. He has this weird Wolverine-like regenerative power.
Right.
That's what we think is important about him.
Right.
And apparently in the future, you can get healed anyway. So who cares about the regenerative factor? Now Jason is a relic from another time, so he might be worth money to the people in the future. But it's its own kind of story. It doesn't. You stop and think about Mrs. Voorhees and the Jeep, and it's like, how is this the same series? It's like the ultimate game of telephone.
Yes,
and at this point, the story has changed so much. By the time you get to the other side of the room, Jason's in outer space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's in a dress and he's fucking serving tea to somebody. It's a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy until finally it becomes its own art.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I like about it. I mean, David fucking Cronenberg just strolls through the film like, hey, how's it going? I'm David Cronenberg. See ya. Mm-hmm. And gets killed by fucking Jason.
This is CanCon, shot in Canada.
It's amazing. Hey, let's make the background effect behind the girl a little more interesting. What do you think? Water effect? Yeah, perfect. Water effect. Like every piece of like rudimentary lighting and basic lighting you could figure out. This thing looks close like it was shot for television.
It almost was.
It's like a TV movie, man.
It's very close to the sci-fi originals of its time.
Mm-hmm.
But back then,
exactly.
Back then, we could discern between a sci-fi original and Jason X, and now it's become harder. The further away from it, it feels similar. But it almost was a made-for-video, and then somebody said, no, Friday the 13th movies go to the theater. They don't go direct-to-video. And they have yet to adhere that route. Also, why this doesn't match Part 9, Part 9's the only one made in the 90s. That's 93. This one's 01. So this is quite a jump.
Yeah.
But I think we have the second movie's first movie to thank for this type of movie.
Well, this is made. This is Sean Cunningham. Still, I mean, he's involved with this movie.
That's true. Yeah. And they decided to make this one while they were waiting to make Freddy versus Jason. They had the rights to that figured out, and it was like, let's make another one in the meantime because we can't make that one until such and such time.
Yeah, well, everybody needs to eat, so let's make that other one.
Mm-hmm. It's a stopgap before that. Yeah,
it's got a very faint early John Carpenter feel in points where, and what I mean by that was Carpenter is the master of taking a set location and making it kind of look like something else for purpose. If you think of the scenes in Escape from New York with the vent hoods, that's just the top of a building with the fucking exhaust vents, but they turned it into like this military complex. Same thing with The Thing. He seems to just kind of be able to find these spaces they live and turn them into these very basic structures, especially with Dark Star, where, you know, you've got the ball bouncing around and it's just bouncing through a fucking community college. You can tell it's just, you know, different industrial sites, you know, but he tends to be able to, and that's kind of what this movie sort of did was, you know, hey, let's show up at this kind of industrial space and we'll shoot from this angle and it'll look kind of futuristic. You know what I mean? Put a few things in there and hey, it looks like a spaceship, you know, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So you mix Dark Star with Halloween and you get
Jason
Alien.
X.
No, I mean, well, you get
Jason
Alien and then you get Jason X because that's something about Dan O'Bannon too. So, but that is interesting because what is Friday the 13th if not a Halloween clone in the first place? So,
yeah.
You know what's really funny about? Oh, go ahead.
I mean, I would say that the first Friday the 13th is definitely its own idea separate from Halloween. However, the ones after where you get a actual Jason killer are definitely clones of Michael Myers.
Mm-hmm.
But that first one is, you know, I mean, Mrs. Voorhees is the killer.
Yeah, well, they were still trying to ape the success, is what I mean.
Yeah. I hear you.
Like, oh, that was popular. We need to make our version.
But I still think it was, yeah. But it's the later ones where it's just Michael and Jason. You know,
right.
There's not a lot of, there's no twist. There's no real. Although listen to me. I mean, 2's my favorite. So what do I know?
Well, as a slight diversion, people online like to say all sorts of crazy shit, and I read it for some reason. But people like to say that movies after Scream are like Halloween H2O and whatnot. They're like, oh, that's a Screamified version of Halloween. And I'm like, wait a minute, doesn't Scream exist because of Halloween? So Halloween became Scream, became Halloween again? It's eating its own tail, people. But I never thought that those movies, outside of the polished look and maybe the music choices and the WB type cast, otherwise it's not really Screamified. You know, it's still Michael Myers. It's not multiple killers putting a plan together. But I kind of see where they're coming from an aesthetic choice. But I thought it was funny where it's like, that Halloween is Screamified. Well, wait a minute, Scream is Halloweenified. And then it becomes its own art, like you said.
I think that the brilliance of it is that there's a certain level that B movies attain. Reanimator, Basket Case, Frankenhooker.
Leaning into the Henenlotters tonight. Yeah.
A little bit, but I mean, Altered States. There's a certain, like, it's not ever going to be a great, you know, front running A level picture, but it has this weird kind of charm to it. It because its camp is there. I mean, it's Rocky Horror Picture Show in a certain respect.
Yeah, it's not trying to be scary, really.
It's not really trying to be scary. It's just trying to give you a good ride, and it's kind of winking at you along the way. Like, isn't this fun? Right? Like, it's not too scary. Don't worry.
And it's science fiction based, which is very different than the rest of the Friday series.
But it's you know, Night of the Comet is another great example of what I'm talking about, where it's like, again, it's never going to be that A-level picture, but it's charming and it's fun and it's a good B movie, you know, and they're out there. Mischief is a great example of a comedy of a good B movie. You know, not first run, not great. Eddie and the Cruisers is a good B movie, in my opinion. You know, these movies that, somehow attain a status and are more than the sum of their faults. You know what I mean? And to me, Jason X is very much that. It's like much more than the sum of its faults, where it's like, yeah, I mean, you can point to a bunch of shit that this movie does that's not good, but it's still a really fucking entertaining movie to watch at the same time. Like, the effects are fucking dated. There's a subtitle that literally says, Rowan, he's not longer your problem. I mean, even the subtitles in this fucking movie are bad. They're wrong. Yeah. The woman playing the android is fucking terrible. She's so bad. The effects are god awful. They don't hold up. Could we not afford any good actors at all?
I thought that was the point, though.
The dude from 300 is fine, but damn, the dude from 300 gets the best death where he's like, going to take more than a stab in the chest to kill me. And then, yeah, that'll do it. And then he goes, that's fucking great.
And we had the Herb Tarlek-Xander from Buffy combination guy. And I finally realized he looks like Herb Tarlek from WKRP in Cincinnati. And he even kind of acts like him. It made the movie even funnier for me.
Yeah.
But a lot of, I don't know, hardcore fans of the series most people hate this one. They think it's the worst.
Oh, I completely understand why.
I think it's because anytime a series does something that's not the norm, that's the one that people are like, oh, fuck that one, it's the worst. And I'm like, wait a minute, no, it's just different. It's not the worst. Is one of these more boring ones that's earlier. Like, I think 9 is probably a mess, and like after that is probably like 5 is just. 5's almost like a trauma movie, which might work for some people, but for me, it's a little too grotesque. I like my 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and then like this and Freddy versus Jason. Everything else is okay,
Look, if you are a
my favorite Kane Hodder one,
if you are a hardcore Jason fan and you like that type of stuff, this probably isn't going to be your favorite movie because it's. I get it. It's a little more campy, a little more comedy based, a little more goofy. It's not really taking the character very seriously. It's not scary. It's a bunch of jump scares and about thrill moments. I get it. But if you remove yourself from that and just watch it as a fun fucking movie about some serial killer who gets frozen and thawed out in the future and just starts going off. And I mean, when they recombinate him back into the Super Jason, I'm just like, holy shit, this movie has gone off the fucking rails.
Exactly.
You can't help but laugh at it at that point.
I've always thought it was fun. But for example, what you're saying, when this was new on video, Halloween Resurrection was new on video. And so I watched both of these movies in a row with Paul back in the day. And he really enjoyed the Halloween Resurrection. And by the way, both of these entries people fucking hate. They think they're a mess. I think both of them are kind of fun in a weird way. But he liked the Halloween Resurrection, but he didn't like the Jason X. He just kind of sat there stone faced, and it just didn't do it for him. So I guess if you're just not attuned to that exact level of hokey that it's doing or eye winking, it's like, oh my God. But I was there for it. Because I remember watching these movies every year they came out as a kid. So following the lore, I can be like, okay, I already know everything they've done before. Now going to outer space,
the body spinning down on the auger. That's pure that's pure genius. That's fantastic. It looks so cheesy and goddamn, I love it. But I'll say this: even in an hour 30, it's probably about 6 or 7 minutes too long.
It's long, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe could have cut a few minutes out of this thing, but
they pack a lot into it. I remember I liked it a lot more 25 years ago. The charm is still there, but it's lessened for me over the years. Do you know Hockey was outlawed in 2024, by the way? So.
I don't remember. Right. I don't remember Jason ever doing a quiet kill before, but it's been a long time. Has he ever covered the mouth of a victim to keep the others from hearing him kill them? It just doesn't seem like something Jason would ever be worried about.
That's what I'm saying. The continuity kind of there, like
it was kind of weird. It was weird to watch him shush a victim to me. I don't know why that is. It seemed like
that is weird because he wouldn't
an un-Jason-like thing. Yeah, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't give a flying fuck about that at all. So I was just like, oh, that's interesting. I've never, maybe that's why people don't like this movie, because it's Jason's not really acting like Jason.
You know, well, Kane's Jason has a personality, and the other guys didn't have any personality. And it's like, okay, it's the same, but it's a little different.
You either like that or you don't.
He makes it a little more Michael Myers-ish with his movements, and Jason used to just be some fucking not even buff dude with the fucking,
I mean, look, you get Jason versus an android, which is fucking awesome. When she pops up and the dude's like, gave her an upload, and I'm like, you mean upgrade? Like, holy shit, this movie can't even get its technology right. But
in the future, it becomes upload again. That's 400 years from now.
Oh yeah, that's what
and they look at us like, what are we talking about? What's a bicycle?
But someone finally thinks in all these movies to shoot his fucking limbs off, to cripple him. Like, that's what I've always been like. Somebody just cripple his legs so he can't run after you.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail. He's the Black Knight. It's only a flesh wound.
It's only a flesh wound.
Well, they blow him up in part 9, but that's when we discover that little worm demon thing goes into another body. And then you get a really disturbing scene that's kind of like Youngblood, where Jason shaves a full-grown man. Maybe we'll get to this movie one day. Maybe not. But it would be quite some time. Hey, I just gave you your opening bumper there.
So he punches the android's head off, but his killing blow is immediately stopped by the female researcher. Because he's just like, boom, and then suddenly his next blow, the female Rowan is like, no, Jason.
Well, yeah, we want it to be like Aliens, and now that's the Bishop alien cyborg head.
Get away from her, you bitch.
I believe the line is, stay away from her, you bitch. This is film class, right? I'm already in the next movie.
That's why I did that. I was really hoping that Janessa would die. I was kind of hoping that character would die.
Yeah, they give a bunch of people survive this one. It's unusual.
This is an interesting movie because you get tits with 7 minutes left, which is you don't normally get nudity that late in a movie. You usually get it earlier. And I feel like the producers were like, let's put some boobies in there for the people who waited this long through the movie as like your reward.
That holodeck sequence is really the only kind of callback to the old movies in a way. And it is kind of fun where they trick him and he thinks he's at the camp again momentarily.
I like the fact that he's beating one girl to death using the other girl. Like I was just like, sometimes this shit is just perfectly over the top and ridiculous. And I wonder if Jeff ever found that Jason meteorite. I wonder about that.
Right. Jason's a meteorite now.
Yeah.
And they kind of imply that he might be dead or he might not be, because you just see the mask at the end and there's no continuation of this storyline. The next movie we would get would be Freddy versus Jason, which takes place before this.
Right.
Gee, I wonder who won. The audience wins. And then the movie after that was the remake from 2009. And now they're going to make a prequel TV show with Linda Cardellini in it.
Linda Cardellini, that's right.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
I'm just going to be sitting there thinking about Uber Jason the whole time. So.
Yeah, this is one of those so bad it's kind of good. It's unlike anything. It's unlike any Friday the 13th you're going to see. It stands out. It's very extremely unique. It's its own thing. I think it's totally awesome just for the camp of it and sort of the fun of it. It's not a technically super well-made movie. It's got some kind of amateurish basic film school things going on.
Well, like you said, it felt made for video.
Yeah, the effects aren't that great. So I can't give it a super high rating, but at the same time, sometimes movies overcome the sum of their parts. You know what I mean? And so I'm going to give it 3 stars. Yeah. I would watch it again easily.
Yeah, I give it a 3 as well.
Yeah, I would watch it again easily.
Yeah. I watched it more often than some of the others,
Yeah, I would Smokey and the Bandit and Jason X as a fucking double feature in a heartbeat. Which leads us to
Jason X. We covered the first one, and now we covered the 10th one.
That's right. That's perfect. We don't have to cover the ones in between. It's fine.
But now, second movie, we're going in order. Last spooky season, can't believe it's been a year, we covered Scream and Get Out as the beginning of the spooky season. Now we're back, and we watched Scream 2.
Indeed.
And we're watching it in order, see? We waited a year, and then I also, I not only do I like the movie, but I brought it on the show for my own selfish purposes as well, because we're doing research. So anyway, what is this movie that was apparently previewed in Tucson before it came out?
Sweet.
What is Scream 2?
Scream 2, 1997, rated R, 2 hours. A masked killer pursues a student and her friends. What a great logline.
It's very basic.
Directed by Wes Craven, written by Kevin Williamson, stars Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, and others. It's a hell of a cast. Storyline. 2 years after the events of Scream, Sidney Prescott and Randy are attending Windsor College. They are trying to get on with their lives until a new Ghostface killing spree begins. With the help of Dewey and Gale, Sidney must find out who's behind the murders. As the body count goes up, the list of suspects goes down. The tagline is, there's a killer on campus making more calls, making more kills.
You were talking about that line that you liked a lot from the movie, and it reminded me of, there's another line in the trailer that is not in the film, but it always made me laugh. Sidney picks up the phone and the Ghostface guy says, "It's time, girlfriend." And that line is not in the movie. But it's in the trailer.
My first note is ugh, it's Jada Pinkett and she's gross.
Oh, we're back to this. I'd already forgotten about the.
And I read my Entertainment Weekly. I know my shit. It just makes me roll my eyes.
Nobody want to pay $7.50 for some Sandra Bullock shit. Oh, but you will pay to see a movie called Stab.
Right. Moving quickly past that, however, let's get to it. I ran a movie theater for many years. Not many, well, 7. I ran a movie theater for almost 7 years. At no point is any theater going to approve you passing out fucking robes, masks, and fucking plastic knives for whatever screening of whatever. However, masks are quite likely. And I'll tell you a story.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you a story, y'all. So we had this movie called Space Chimps. And Space Chimps was a fucking flop. I think it lasted 2 weeks at our theater. But they sent us this box, this 12 by 12 by 12 box of face chimp masks of the young boy chimp and the young girl chimp that were the leads in the picture was about. This is an animated movie. And so I handed out Space Chimp masks to the 10 kids maybe that showed up to see this friggin' thing. I mean, the numbers on this thing were atrocious. And they sat in the box office for a good 6 months, right? And I was up at the box office talking to the 2 girls working it, and they were talking to somebody who was there, and I was like, what am I going to do with these Space Chimp masks? And it was 2 kids that were working at the Journeys next door. They were talking to the 2 girls that were working in the box office, and I'm there clearing the box office out. I was like, what am I going to do with these masks? And the 2 kids from Journeys were like, oh, give them to us. And so I gave them like 10 masks. And the next thing you know, over the course of like 2 hours, I start getting these kids coming up asking for these masks. What, can you get any Space Chimp masks? Is this where you get the Space Chimp masks? And I'm passing them out like, here, take these motherfuckers, here. Until finally mall security comes running up to us. It's like, is this the place where the Space Chimp masks are from? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, stop fucking passing those out. And I was like, why? And they're like, because they're everywhere. Kids everywhere are walking into stores and scaring the shit out of everybody who works there wearing these Space Chimp masks. And they think they're going to get robbed and so on. And I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, maybe that was a bad idea. Anyway.
So obviously the marketers of Space Chimps went about that campaign all wrong. They had the idea right, but they should have been passing those masks out. Man.
Yeah.
It's too little too late. That is a true story. I remember hearing about this.
It really happened. So no, I mean the liability of the plastic knife and all that shit at the mask, that's never happening.
And it's before any, like, Joker type situations happened in movie theaters and stuff.
Right.
And it kind of ties into a little bit of the third movie where it was going to be Stu hiring some kids to do it, but Columbine happened and they didn't want to look like they were trying to profit off of that tragedy, even though that script idea existed before. But as Mickey says, it's a classic case of life imitating art, imitating life. It's really kind of bizarre how that works. But this was before, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's an interesting sort of footnote to it, where it's like, yeah, that's interesting for the film, and that's kind of neat. And it allows Ghostface to get in there and kill Jada Pinkett Smith in front of a bunch of people,
right? Setting the tone for the movie.
But at the same time, there's no way in hell.
Well, of course, yeah.
There's just no way.
There's a lot of unrealistic things like this. If you remember the first one, Tatum's head getting stuck in the garage door.
Yeah.
So we have a history of a little bit of silliness.
That's a terrible.
And I love the aim of the knife right through the bathroom stall. Right through the head. Well, I always see Scary Movie where the dildo comes through. I can't.
Yeah, to me, it's the worst. It's the worst kill of all the Screams so far. Like if you're watching Scream 1 and Scream 2, that's the lamest kill. Because that plastic, there's no way you're going to knife through that plastic in one shot. It's just, again, it's like, that's part of my problem with Scream 2 is that it's like, it wants you to, Scream 1 is very, to me, believable. High school kids killing each other, right? That's a very believable premise to me. This is more of like a, fanboys of high school kids who killing people, and the movie's having to help them along to a certain extent by allowing them to stab through walls or kill people in the middle of a crowded theater with other people that look like them.
Well, that's the problem with all of these type of sequels. They even mention it in one of the deleted scenes of the movie, which was actually an alternate version of the film study class, where Mickey says, the more they make of these movies, the sillier the main character becomes, and now Freddy's funny. He's not scary anymore.
Right. Well, and it's part of it is just, again, trying to, you want to keep up some of the tropes of the original, so you need the comment about the movies in the beginning, and then we were in not just that, but after credits we roll right into a whole class where we're once again talking about the movies and the rules and the this and the that, because that's one of the tropes of the movie, right? Mm-hmm. Along with getting the girl killed in the beginning, first 15 minutes, and setting the tone and these other things. But it just seems a little bit rougher for me this time around.
Then I guess
because the first one's it's a fucking masterpiece.
Right.
It's really a great horror movie. I think I scored it a 4. Probably should have scored it a 4.5, honestly. Because the more I think about how good it is, and because it takes everything before it and it makes it into this whole new thing,
Well, I guess since you already went there, I might as well jump into my main note of this movie. I've always liked this one. In ways, I like it more than the first one, even though I know the first one's a better movie. Because when this one comes together in its moments, it really comes together, but there's a lot of clunky. And why is there a lot of clunky? Because there was rewrites constantly throughout the film. And apparently, according to legend, the rewrites happened because the script leaked online. And this was one of the first instances of this happening back in 97. So apparently that made them scramble and change stuff.
Yeah.
And, which route do I want to go first? What the movie was about? Or, let's do this for part first. Okay, so apparently the original ending was, it was 4 killers. It was Mrs. Loomis. It was the boyfriend. It was her girlfriend, and it was Cotton. Now, knowing this, watching the movie, it feels like in parts there's still threads of it would have made more sense to have that ending, but instead they switched it to just Mrs. Loomis hired Mickey. Instead, I'm guessing she might have been.
If you had shown me 4 killers at the end of this fucking thing, I would have been pretty pissed. Honestly,
It might have made more sense though. They do end up doing 4 killers in part 6. It does end up happening eventually, but
yeah. But I think 2 killers is kind of genius. I think 4 is kind of ridiculous.
Okay, well, putting all that,
but that's just me. Maybe I didn't see it all.
I didn't see that version either. I was just looking for threads.
Exactly. It sure sounds kind of silly.
10 years later, Kevin Williams says that was a dummy script that we had, and I'm thinking, then what were the rewrites about when it got leaked? But this made me really think about it in a larger scale. When a script is leaking, why change anything?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you trying to please? You're not going to please anybody, because you're throwing away what might be a good planned out idea just because somebody found out the ending of it and people on opening night might know the ending. What about the shelf life of the film? They never think about this shit. It's all about the money right then and right now. So is that the right choice to rewrite because it's leaked? Who gives a fuck if it leaked? Who's paying attention to that? Even in 97, who even had the internet outside of us dial-up freaks?
I think,
about that a little bit.
I get the urge though, as a filmmaker, to go fuck and rewrite it.
But you got to go. Stick to your guns.
That.
Yeah,
I get that. Sarah Michelle Gellar and Timothy Oly-phantastic. That's 2 excellent fucking pieces in this film. I really enjoyed.
So there might have been a better movie that got thrown away, is what I'm saying. But
maybe. I mean, I'm curious if it would have included the same cast. Like I said, would have included Gellar and Oly-phantastic.
Because she came on later. Because if you watch the deleted scene or the alternate take of that classroom scene, it's a different actor. But then they got her to be able to do it, so they put her in.
She's got a good death scene too. I quite like that. They
didn't want her to just have a death scene. They needed some more with her earlier on too. You never see Joshua Jackson again, though. Pacing in Dawson's Creek, you see him once.
Good, Jesus fucking Christ! Because I was like, oh, not him.
But yeah, I really like that scene in the classroom. You know,
it's good. It's just it comes right after an entire Jada Pinkett Smith and scene where they're talking about movies and killing and all that type of shit.
Because they were in that class. Yeah,
I know, but I want the movie to be aware of itself. I like the meta version of the film, right? But at the same time, I don't want it all squashed together. Space the shit out for me, you know.
Well,
I don't want to watch Randy talk about the rules for 20 minutes. I want to watch Randy talk about it for 5 minutes over 2 hours. You know what I mean?
Well, it's sending up sequels too, and to do those type of things.
Oh, and by the way, sequel that's better than the original, Empire. Done. Easy. Finished. Thanks. Have a good day.
What does he say? Nope. Part of a trilogy doesn't count. And then
what?
That's part of the movie that he says that. And then Sydney's girlfriend walks in front. She's like, oh, I like those little bear things. He's like, Ewoks. They suck.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. My bad.
But he's just dicking with Mickey at that point. You're right.
It seems, I like it, but it seems, especially back when I first saw this, I liked it a lot more. Now it seems a little more forced. Yeah. I don't know what that is.
I think it's the endless rewrites. Yeah,
maybe it seems a little more forced. Like they really want to make sure the movies are tied together. We have to have these elements. We can't, we really want to keep this, here's the franchise template.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it really does set it too, because it's weird how forced changes that you weren't necessarily wanted to do that found their way into the movie become part of the fabric just as much as the things you planned. It's like the Friday the 13th movies, right? Amy Steele was going to do the third one, but then she couldn't, but then it makes a way for somebody else to come in, and it's weird how it builds itself like that. They were going to possibly leave Randy alive, and maybe something would have happened to Joel, the cameraman, but that was victims of the rewrites as well, at least according to Wikipedia. So, and we know how reliable Wikipedia can be. So.
The movie does have a lot of stars. Like, I mean, there's a lot, like you said, it's got Jerry O'Connell, Sarah Michelle Gellar, it's got Jada Pinkett Smith, it's got Timothy Oly-phantastic. It's an excellent cast.
These movies always tend to have good casts.
Yeah. It seems like, it's almost like Star Trek episode where people are like, "Hey, can I get in on that?" You know, I want to be involved.
And I had read about where the rewrite did the script leak before the movie was being shot. No, and it was already after, so they were giving pages while
That's rough.
shooting.
Yeah,
Like you said, the weakest kill. That was an example of the script said that dude goes in the bathroom and then Wes makes it scary. And then he had to work that out right then. So that's probably why it's a little.
huh.
And you noticed it right away. You're like, wait a minute, this feels.
Well, especially for the first kill. I mean, that shit is. I mean, the first kill in Scream is chasing down Drew Barrymore and stabbing her. Well, and her seeing her boyfriend all tied up in the chair and so on, right? And in the second one, it's stabbed through the toilet. Like, who the fuck puts their ear against a toilet wall anyways? That's disgusting.
Yeah. His is absurd, and hers is kind of freaky because it's showing we're cheering the movie, but she's dying in front of them type thing.
Yeah, and also just in a movie where a situation that would never, like I said, for me, take as a movie manager, I'm like, that shit would never happen.
It's about as real as the kids tearing up the theater in Hope and Glory. Wait a minute, Minecraft joke.
It's like Oly-phantastic. He's so obvious. I know they throw Jerry O'Connell at us as a red herring or a misdirection.
He might have been one of the killers originally.
Because they cut his arm. You know, I'm talking about just the movie itself, but they cut his arm, and that's supposed to, you know, oh, I tried to defend you, Sid, and all that shit. And but you know, it's Oly-phantastic all the way through. For me, the one that's a bit of a surprise is. And not that much is Laurie Metcalf.
Yeah, she surprises everybody. Well, she's good enough actress to do that. So
the turn of I like that moment where they get on stage. There's on stage, and finally it's Sydney Caesar and goes, Mrs. Loomis, and she's like, who? Right. That's a really cool moment. That's really well done there. That's good shit.
It's like just like the first Friday the 13th. It's the mom, and it's impossible to solve as you're watching it because the movie's giving you tons of false clues, but she's a character throughout the movie and you don't see her. She's there, but she makes herself invisible, unlike Mrs. Loomis, who's not in Friday the 13th at all.
I think it's probably also a little bit of gender prejudice. You know, you're looking for a Billy Loomis and his cohort, right? You're not looking for a woman and a Timothy Olyphant type,
it should be so obvious, but she plays it in this way that it's like, oh, that's.
But you also don't know if the movie tells you that's Mrs. Loomis 20 minutes into the movie, you're like, there's the killer.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, it's not until Sydney tells you who she is that you go, oh shit, of course it's her.
But like the quick nature that her girlfriend was killed off, and the quick nature that Jerry O'Connell was killed off, I was like, I wonder if that was just like a quick rewrite because instead, you know, of course. Ghostface didn't attack her. She's sneaking out of the car because she's the other killer. And wouldn't that make sense for I don't know. It made me view it differently this time, looking for those what if threads. I really like the Dewey and Gale stuff in this one. I think they amped that up more from the first one.
Yeah, no, I like that quite a bit. I enjoyed seeing the cameos. Tori Spelling, Heather Graham,
she really
Luke
does
fucking Wilson. Yeah, Luke Wilson. Of course they do the parts. I mean, why wouldn't they? It's nice to see Neve Campbell get to do some dancing. And we know she's a ballerina, so to see her actually get to kind of use some of that's pretty cool.
All right. There was a rumor that stab movie part was directed by Robert Rodriguez, but I was listening to the commentary, and there's Wes Craven talking about shooting that part. So I guess the rumor was he was going to direct Scream 2, Robert Rodriguez, because Wes didn't know if he wanted to do it. But then Wes decided he didn't want to be away from the property, and Robert Rodriguez went on to make The Faculty.
Well, IMDb says that the DVD omits Robert Rodriguez's director's credit during the opening titles for Stab. So maybe they were just going to credit him for the fake movie like he didn't actually shoot it, but they were going to credit Stab to Robert Rodriguez. Yeah. That makes sense.
So I don't know, but listening to that commentary and then they're just nonchalantly like, oh yeah, we shot this part here, and the neighbors were. I'm like, you shot that part? Well, that flies in the face of everything else. This is also 1 degree of separation to the party animal because DOP Peter Deming.
Yep, Peter Deming. Yep. Mm-hmm.
One of my personal favorite directors of photography.
Yeah, get away from you, bitch is wrong. It's yeah, I don't want to say that, but yeah, it is stay away from her, bitch.
That part where he says, "I let the geek get the girl." Apparently, he messed it up like 15 times for some reason. He just couldn't get it right. There's a few bloopers of it. Not a whole lot of extras. Maybe like 10 minutes worth of extra stuff.
I enjoy I enjoy Randy taunting, like he's finally, Billy Loomis was a piece of shit. He was, this guy, if and then suddenly he's grabbed and pulled into the
Yeah.
van and killed. I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was kind of dumb of Randy to be anywhere near a van while
Right.
that was going on, but at the same time, it was a cool scene.
Yeah, it kind of feels like, did they mean to kill him off, or did the rewrites happen and make it?
Right.
But what it does is it sets that precedent of anybody can die at any moment, which makes the movie a little more heightened of its tension. Oh, if they killed Randy, they can kill anybody. And in some of the newer ones, like the core four, fucking make it through the whole movie, and you're like, somebody should be off.
Should be
give
dying.
that element of, there's things at stake,
I don't know about making Cotton sort of a crazy or a fame driven, like that is his motivation. It felt really weak to me to be like $10,000 to be on Diane Sawyer. I would have preferred to have seen him with some different motivation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And trying to work towards some sort of friendship with Sydney instead of trying to use her so he could get famous. It was just fucking weird.
Maybe it was all bullshit originally, and he was working with Mrs. Loomis and another stuff. So
word, but when you get to the end and there's that, I'll make you famous, Billy, and all that shit, and she's like, I'll do the Diane Sawyer, and he's like, cool, and he kills her. It's
I remember the crowd liked it on opening night. It's kind of fun.
Well, yeah, I get you. The movie to me has a lot more highs and lows. Mm-hmm. And the lows are a lot lower, and the highs aren't as high as the original. Although there are some really great moments. Again, Jamie getting killed while he's on the phone is a great moment.
Oh, right.
That's really good shit. The sequence where Dewey is up against the glass and being stabbed and she's watching him, that is fantastically well done stuff. That is the good shit. That's the shit that that's Scream 1 stuff. Mm-hmm. That was really, really good. I really enjoyed that.
And for rushing this into production and churning it out so fast and everything, it's amazing that elements of it come together that well. Because it could have been a train wreck.
Yeah, it's weird to me that Cotton and Gail aren't closer in the movie because she was the one that believed in his innocence, and there doesn't seem to be a reason for him to have an attitude about it, really, unless I missed some dialogue or some subtext there.
Also makes me wonder if, what's leftovers that didn't get rewritten, or because there's things that feel clunky in ways. But it also makes me think, would it have been the exact same movie? Because it was Mrs. Loomis in charge of whoever anyways. They just seemingly whittled it down that she just hired Mickey and...
Yeah,
it's still going to be family. It's still going to be a reason. It's not it isn't actually fanboys. It's the mom of the killer. So,
how the hell do you get Sydney out of a kill scene with 4 ghost faces? Like, how do you get out of that? It just seems like getting out of it would make it so ridiculous.
They would have had to Rube Goldberg it a little more. I'm almost curious to find the script if it's out there. Be like, what was that, and what elements stayed, what elements changed, what got ported to other people? Does Gail get shot at the end? I mean, how much is
It's nice to see the black guy it's nice to see the black guy be the smart guy and just fucking be like, nah, fuck you, bitch, and leave.
Because the other black guy was the first victim.
That's right.
See, that does fit in with the tropes.
That's right. I like the fact that the women in these films, they fight back.
Yeah,
they don't scream and fall down as the killer comes towards them. They punch him in the fucking throat and then kick him in the nuts. And
their actions
fighting back. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true too.
Mickey showing up and they turn around and he's go flying on Jason X and shit, and went back to
the, which brings me to the death of the FBI agents. That's such a mess scene. Like, it's just so like, really, he just, punches through the window and kills the FBI agent. The other one somehow has trouble getting out of the car and getting his gun out. You know, it's such a silly. It was so silly. And that's what I mean by the movie being so up and down, these great moments followed by these silly blah scenes, you know?
And yet that leads way to one of the most tension-filled scenes, them trying to get out of that car, and they have to crawl over him.
Yeah, the first time, yes, but when they make her crawl out, it's like, it's not as, to me, the scene dragged on, and
and then she's suddenly dead, which makes me wonder, was she the killer originally? Yeah,
it just, for me, it just did. Like, I guarantee you, if that scene was in the original script, it was without her friend, and it was her having to crawl out, and that's tension filled. I get it, but now you got to get the friend. Like, you can't grab a rock and just break that fucking window and just come on.
No, because they're bulletproof glass.
Yeah, sure.
In the backseat of a cop car. Well, it's movie trope.
I know, but it's one trope after another to force the person through, you know, the rat's maze, right?
I blame rewrites. I don't know what else to blame.
It didn't work for me as much. I liked the first part of it. I didn't like the second part. Timothy's voice is really high in this movie for some reason. I don't know why Olyphant's voice is so high.
This is maybe the first time I saw him in something, and this is the third Timothy Olyphant movie we featured in under 100 episodes.
Jesus.
Go and Catch and Release. All of his early stuff.
That's right. That's true.
And so I always see Mickey every time I see him in something. I know other people see Justified and all these other things that he's done. But...
There he is. Let me see here. He's got, he's been in a ton of stuff. He's got 87 acting credits, so it's not weird that we would stroll upon him that much. But the light controls where she's like throwing all the switches. I'm like, what is this? Frankenstein's laboratory? Like, what are these massively unsafe, shock the shit out of you switches that you're letting college kids? It's the most insane fucking light board I've ever seen. It. Yeah, it's insane. That is not up to OSHA standards.
They expect to see Harpo flying around on the ropes, you know.
Exactly. Are you all right? I'm fucking shot. Of course not.
No, she does have more lives than a cat. They still can't kill Gale Weathers. Part 7 coming soon, which is followed by Part 8 coming soon because they realized they needed to rehire Nev Campbell and they're starting again. And if you're starting again, then, well, it's probably the beginning of a trilogy again. But what's weird about this Part 7 is, as you might have heard the leaked news, so many people are coming back in it. And how? They're dead. Well, we'll see.
We'll see. Dewey's alive? So I guess he'll be back in the next episode in a fucking wheelchair or something? Because, like, that dude's...
There's that scar tissue. It saved his life. You know, that'll trope.
I guess he could talk to the Red Hot Chili Peppers about that. Mm-hmm. That Rob Thomas-like song at the end as she's walking through the campus is the worst fucking thing I've ever heard.
They're cheesy, but it is one of the all-time, each song blends into the next song and credit rolls. And it's very indicative of that year, too. Right from the Less Than Jake, I Think I Love You, all the way to the Master P Scream song at the very end. It's like a perfect medley, like one of those Weird Al medleys.
I want to stab you in the face. Well, I will.
Well, I will. Rob Thomas is Sinbad's bitch.
So for me, definitely a step down from what I think Scream was. But boy, it's tough to catch lightning in a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's fun to watch. I think there's a lot of cool moments in it.
Yeah.
Again, I think oh God, what's his name? I keep sparing his name. The kid with the movies.
Randy?
Randy, yeah. Randy's death is exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
I really like it. I think there's some good moments. They really do some stuff really well. But then again, they have some weird ass things that they're doing too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give it 3 stars.
All right.
Kind of just both these movies are just kind of like, you know, if you ask me which one I want to watch, Jason X or Scream 2, I'm going to be like, dude, put either one on. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like I'll watch either one of those.
I give this a 4.
Really?
Like I said earlier in ways I like it more than the first one, even though I know the first one's a better movie.
Way
I
better.
don't know if it's nostalgia, the fact that I saw this in the theater / drive-in like a dozen times when it was out.
Yeah.
There's just
Yeah.
something about when the moments that click that it was enough to where I could tune out during the lull parts and wait for my next part that I really like, kind of. But the movie is a bit long at 2 hours and 1 minute.
I agree. I think it's a bit long, and yeah, I mean, I get it.
And I still find new things in it,
terrible
strangely enough. And didn't David Arquette mention that the movie was rushed into production?
I think he did.
Q&A we saw.
I think it tells. I mean, I think that this first one is paced much better. I think the kills are a lot better and more creative, and I think the whole movie as a whole moves and flows a lot better. And this one, it has a few problems. The whole piece with where we're seeing her on stage and she's doing the dance and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, blink and you'll miss David Warner.
Blink and miss David Warner, but she's reacting and then has the freak out scene and all that. Like, I mean, did we really need that? Could we have cut that? I don't know.
They left all the.
It was a 2-hour movie,
development in there. Yeah. Nowadays they would have them cut all that.
Right.
It was still when you could make a long one. And I guess the first one had made so much money that it was like, But I really do wonder what the real story about the rewrites, because usually the real story is somebody in control didn't like the script and wanted it changed. It wasn't some internet leak. That's my personal opinion on it. It's usually a little bit deeper than that, because we were on dial-up still then, guys, but which AOL is doing away with finally as we're recording this. But an internet leak of a script in 97, I don't know, like you were saying, maybe it did feel like a bigger deal then, but now hopefully we've learned all these years later, stick to your guns. Just because a percentage of people know the ending of the movie on day one, the movie has a shelf life. And in 5-10 years from now, people are going to discover it and they're not going to know the ending. And it still has that same ending that you wrote in the first place. But these are all fucking guesses because I don't know the real story. But it did make me think about it quite a bit. So
I get it. I mean, movies are a business, and if you think that people aren't going to come because the script's been leaked and everybody knows what's going to happen, and there's no point to go see it, then you got to surprise the audience. I get it.
Happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. I get it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody was going to the movie anyway. I mean, don't throw away Luke, I Am Your Father just because somebody fucking leaked it, That's where I'm coming from.
I hear you.
Part of the trilogy doesn't count. Okay, Jamie. Okay.
Okay, sure. Sure.
It's funny watching the movie and thinking about all of the encounters we've had with so many people in the cast and seeing Jamie Kennedy and thinking, I had an elevator ride with that guy where he asked me if I was enjoying the weekend. Anything about Mad Monster. And now even having met David Arquette made me look at the movie a little different, because I'm like, oh, I see the actor you now instead of just the Dewey you, It's a trip.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know what you mean.
So anyways, next week is a guest, and people can tune in for that. We actually have guests for the spooky season. But then the week after that, Cliff and I will be back for one more spooky season episode. And my movie for Cliff is going to be, let's continue with this whole discussion of what happens when you throw out your script in its entirety and you have to write a whole new script. Your film is Scream 3.
Oh, God, really?
Well, that's the movie I wanted to get to, but I didn't want to jump past 2 because I felt 2 added to the conversation as well. These are selfish reasons that go beyond the podcast. So Scream 3, ripping that bandage off next time. But I won't go any further than that. We'll switch back to some light November fare, whatever that would be.
Okay.
I'm not going to be like Scream 4, Scream 5, Scream 6. I don't think I can do
3 with Jay and Silent Bob. Here we go.
Oh, yeah, see, there's that.
So okay, I'm gonna give you a weird one. And something, I don't know if you've seen it or not. Probably an indie that's snuck under a lot of people's radars. But anyway, so it's from 2015. It's called He Never Died, starring Henry Rollins.
That's a horror film?
Yep.
I know Rollins has made a few horror films, so.
Yeah, definitely a horror film.
All right.
I think he's a fallen angel or a vampire or something like that.
Oh, that counts then.
Yeah.
All right, so that will be the rest of the spooky season. We could tell you what next week's movies are, but you can figure that out if you go to our Letterboxd page. I tend not to announce things before we've actually recorded them because I feel like that's a jinx, even though that shit doesn't exist. Still, why put the temptation out there?
It should be interesting. We'll see what it is.
Mm-hmm. They're good ones next week. They're all-timers, I think.
All right. Well, that'll be it then.
Mm-hmm. You better loosen up that wrist.
Are you all right? I'm fucking shot. Of course not. That's mine. There we go. All right. Let's get out of here. Later. Don't miss an episode. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, like us on YouTube, or give us a 5-star rating on the podcast app of your choice.